Hi Sonika.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Can
good.
you
I'm
hear
good.
me
How are you?
fine? Just
Yes,
give
I
me
can.
1 second. Yes. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. All right. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining in for our Green Talks with Urvann. Today we have Sonika with us. And without wasting much time, we would like to get started and know more about Sonika's journey. So Sonika, we would first, and all of us would first want to say that we're really inspired with what you're doing. In
Thank
our
you so
first
much.
live, we had Vani Murthy ma'am with us, and she talked about Abir, and since that day we've been really wanting to have you come on to our show. So with that, if, we would like to start with knowing like how did you start your journey to sustainability, to a sustainable lifestyle? What was that inspiring moment that led to this change in your lifestyle?
Yeah, but before I start, I have to tell you that when Vani ma'am said Abir compost and things like that on your live, it was like I was starstruck. Like this was, it was so cool. So yeah, that was a really nice live. I really enjoyed it. And she's a huge
Yes.
inspiration to me, and I'm sure to everybody who's in the who's trying to live sustainably. So yeah, that was a very nice
Definitely.
conversation. Yeah. So with me, basically, it all started after my son was born, and I think this whole, you just start, you know that now you're responsible for another life, and that kind of set me on this path because I kind of understood what was happening around. I wanted to do something which was, just to make sure that he has a safe future, and he was really the inspiration for me to start gaining more knowledge, to understand what's wrong, what's happening, what can I do, what can we do as a family, to make sure that we are contributing towards really the solution and not be a part of the problem. So it's been a few years now since we started doing that, and slowly and gradually we just started reducing our waste, because I think really on as an individual that is the biggest impact that you can have, because there are a lot of things that we can't change, right? We can't change policy, we can't make big decisions, but at least whatever we can do on an individual level, we should at least try to do that. So that was the aim behind starting, to lower our waste, to compost at home, and to do all of these things.
All right, yeah, I think that's a great point. That if we all can individually change our lifestyles, I think the kind of impact that we can all together make in creating a better world and a better environment around us. I think that is the kind of immense impact that we all can make together make, and as we say, like each action counts. But I think that's a great point that as like Abir was kind of the inspiration to start on this journey, and I
Absolutely.
think that you've also very well included him in this entire journey, which is something which is I would say very unique. Also, that from the age of 2, for example, teaching him how to compost, and I think that's a great thing to do, because when we're doing that, we're kind of inspiring the next generation, not just the generation or the times we are in. So how easy or how difficult was it to pull a child into this, and like how to make him actually enjoy what he was doing, and like not kind of imposing him. So it's like when we look at your videos, it looks like he's having a lot of fun, planting,
He does.
with his plants, with compost. So how did all of this start? Like how did you kind of inspire him to get along in this journey?
So honestly, nothing was really planned. But from the beginning, I was like, whatever we do, he should just be aware of it, so that it's normal for him. Like there's nothing abnormal about composting because we do it at home. And kids, I have realized that kids just pick up what's happening around them. So
Mm-hmm.
for them, it's just like a fun thing to do. I really didn't have to do anything. I would make him sit next to me when he was not even two, and if I was seeding the compost or something, I would just make him sit next to me and I would show him, see, this is a maggot or this is a black bug. Anyway, kids are very interested in small insects. Okay, so he was very interested, and then slowly and gradually he kind of understood what was happening. So if I would just tell him, Abir, I'm going to compost, do you want to come? And he would just come running because he just thought it was a fun, thing to do. So I really didn't have to do anything to get him interested. I think he was just interested in being involved. And for kids, the moment you start involving them, they just feel like they should be a part of whatever is happening in the house, and it could be anything. So like he was very interested in the kitchen from the beginning. And we have an amazing nanny, and she also cooks. So he would just sit next to her and peel stuff, or dhania nikalna hai or whatever. So just those things are just fun activities for kids. So I think we didn't do anything special. We just made sure that whenever we were doing something, we just involved him, and he just enjoys it. He really enjoys it. So if you compost without him, he's very unhappy.
Oh, okay. That is so good to hear. In fact, we've seen his videos where he's kind of doing it with his friends, and instead of like probably we'll see kids playing with toys, but we seeing him making I think bioenzymes and marigold petals. So I think that is very very interesting and actually very inspiring. When we see that, and inspiring for all of us to kind of see that that kind of chemistry that you have in your family, that everyone is contributing towards a very sustainable way of living. So I think that's great, and
Thank you.
which actually brings me to my next question. That when we all kind of think of doing things like this, हम लोग के पास बहुत बहाने होते हैं that we have work and कैसे how do we segregate, how do we make time for this, and and then we have you as an example that you're working woman, you also have a child to take care of, and who you've very nicely kind of included you in your journey. So how do you plan your day, and how, or what would be your advice to others कि कैसे हम इसको अपने lifestyle का ही एक part बना ले, like how to make that start, that it doesn't look like an added activity for any of us.
Yeah. So I think that one should not jump into everything all at once. We didn't do that either. So we just started with small shifts. Of course, our first shift was a major one because we started with cloth diapering. And cloth diapering is a bit complicated for, when you're starting off, because you have to understand. So I was on maternity leave and I had time. So I really watched a lot of videos online. I try to understand what is the best way to do that. But other than that, I think our first set of things that we changed in our life was just the products that we were using. So, just replacing a detergent with a biodegradable one. That was one of the first things that we did. Then, just changing instead of a shower gel, you start using a soap, or you use a shampoo bar instead of a shampoo, or you use a bamboo toothbrush. So these things are not time consuming. They take, it's the same amount of time that you would be using if you were using something else. So if you start with those kind of changes which don't change your lifestyle, so your lifestyle doesn't change, it's exactly the same thing. It's just that the products that you're choosing are sustainable and biodegradable instead of choosing what you were choosing earlier. So I think that is a good way to get yourself initiated into it. And I just always think that when you start doing something, you just take one step, you will not stop. You will, like for us, the first step was cloth diapering, and then we just started
Sorry,
doing. Yeah. So,
I can't hear
can you
you.
hear me?
Um, yeah, just a second.
I can
Yes,
hear
yes.
you. So, like I was saying, just start with things which are not time consuming. Start with things which are easy, which is just like swapping. That is not a time consuming thing. Uh, After that, what we did was we decided that okay, we don't want to put anything in a dustbin. So we have not had any dustbins in our house for more than 2 years now, and that
Wow.
that that thing took us a little bit of planning and figuring out what works for us. And then at the end, what we thought worked was we just put two large bags in our kitchen, and then we just told our whoever is washing the utensils, we would just keep anything which was plastic or had food in it, we would just keep it with the utensils, so that whoever is washing is just washing it along with that. There's no extra step. And then we would put the dried stuff in that bag. So automatically all our dry waste was going there again without spending any extra time on that. But to come up with that solution, that is the bit that took us a little bit of planning. Once you know that, once you have done that, then it is no extra time. right? Then it's an automated process. Then the next step was composting, because by now we are like, okay, we've reduced this. Now I want to start composting, which was almost a year after all of this. So that getting used to composting in the beginning takes a little bit of time, but on a daily basis, composting does not even take 2 minutes, you know.
Right.
So I think the way to do it is to do small changes and slowly and gradually do this, so that suddenly you're not overwhelmed by, oh my god, I need to do this, I need to do that. No, it's just like very simply you're just changing a few things in your life, and then you just keep, we keep learning every day ourselves, we keep finding newer things to do ourselves. So I think it's a continuous journey. So don't jump into everything all at once, just take it slow.
Right, right. I think that's a great point, that when we kind of overwhelm ourselves with if we are like कि ये भी करना है वो भी करना है, then we're just like यार ये तो बहुत difficult है, and then we kind of tend to leave that. And a better approach would be कि एक चीज से शुरू करो. Probably if you make like 1% every day or every week also, if you make that goal कि एक चीज मैं eliminate करूँगा अपने waste में, yeah, I'll better use my waste or I'll reduce my consumption.
Yeah.
I think over a year, the kind of impact that you will be able to make will be immense. And then
Yeah.
you'll yourself find a way, which is kind of practical to say in the long run. So I think that's a very good point. And I think, Sonika, I think we've all seen that video where you posted, how you had a very sustainable birthday celebration for Abir. And I think, there was also like kind of a comparison between how it was done a few years back versus, how the change has been. So, for our kind of viewers, and, I think this is one thing which showed actually even even kind of decor or the way things were planned or the way the gifts were bought in, nothing was looking कि कुछ भी missing नहीं लग रहा था, and still everything that a child would need in his birthday party was there.
Yeah.
And at the same time there was no wastage. So if you could just kind of shed some light on how did the entire planning for the event went go, and how was it kind of received by the kids who participated. That would be great.
So actually, even Abir's first birthday party was it actually I themed it as a zero waste birthday.
Okay.
So at that time, I was not on Instagram, and now I get most of my ideas from Instagram. But that time I was not so active. So I did do a lot of search on Pinterest, and there were amazing ideas on Pinterest. So I was like, okay, I'm going to follow some of these. So we did that. We were like, okay, what all does, so just break it down into, okay, decor. Let's see what is a low waste or a zero waste decor idea, and try to do that. So we just made cloth buntings, and this was just fabric that was lying at home. So we had like altered our curtains. There was some material from, how you generally have some material lying around.
Right.
And I actually went to a few tailors near the house and said, अपना वो आपका जो कतरन होता है उसको फेंकना मत, थोड़ी देर मेरे लिए इकट्ठे कर देना. And so they did it, right? Because they just throw it away in any case. And we got just buntings made, which were like really nice looking. Then I stumbled upon this company called Use Me Works, which is based in Delhi, and they make a lot of stuff from waste fabric. And I was on this Facebook group called Zero Waste India, and that's where I discovered Meenakshi, who's the owner of Use Me Works. And I saw that on their page they had a bag which was made of denim waste, and it had a name embroidered on it. So I asked her if she could embroider all the kids' names on that, and she did it. So they were beautiful looking bags, which most of the kids are still using. So a drawstring bag you could put on your back with your name embroidered on it. And then in that I just put a soap, which was like a animal shaped soap. I put a bamboo straw, and I put some crayons. So basically just try to find things which are sustainable and which are zero waste. So we put together a return gift like that. And I think the other big wastage that happens in parties is coming from disposable crockery and cutlery. And even if you're doing it at home, most people still use that, which is actually not required, because at home you don't really need to use a disposable thing, right? So what we did was we thought that, okay, if we are always going to do his birthdays like this, so let's invest once in a set of steel plates and glasses, and some cutlery. So we went and bought like a big set of quarter plates, which was steel, and a lot of glasses, because we knew that we were going to use it every year. So we used those, because for kids you can't have breakable stuff.
Right.
So we used those. We had a lot of cloth napkins, so we just put lots of cloth napkins, and we had no waste, because there was nothing in that which was, everything got washed. And what we did was, of course, I have an amazing mother and amazing mother-in-law who made all the food, including the cake. So we didn't
Oh
have to
wow.
get anything from outside. So that was his first birthday, and then second birthday was lockdown. So when we were doing the third birthday, now I was like, okay, he's a little grown up. He's been for birthday parties. Is he going to miss it? Is he going to ask for balloons? Is he going to ask for like gifts? Because on his first birthday, we said no gifts. So what we decided, again, a lot of crowdsourced ideas. I asked a lot of friends. A friend of mine gave me this suggestion about a gift swap. So she said, tell all the kids to get pre-loved gifts, something that that was theirs and they don't want anymore, and just wrap them in a newspaper, so that nobody knows anything. Plus, you avoid shiny gift wrapping papers. And we put them all in a basket. And when the kids were leaving, we just asked every kid to pick up one thing from that. So the kids got a gift as well, and whatever was left, we gave to Abir. So these were just some ideas which turned out to be a lot of fun. And I have to tell you, I was a bit scared that the kids are going to say that, what kind of a party is this? Kids really don't care. Kids just want good cake, good food. Kids want to have a good time. So we played a few games, your uh, regular passing the parcel, musical chairs, those kind of games. They were so happy. They did not care about whether we had balloons or not, or whether, anything else was there or not. And one of the kids the other day came to me and said, Auntie, are you going to call me for Abhi's birthday next year? So I said, yeah, I'll call you. Why? Did you have a good time? He said, yeah, I had a great time. So I was like, thank God.
Good, good.
He had a good time. So I think there are so many. And you know why I made that post? I made that post because just to give ideas to people, because even I found ideas online. And if you have somebody who's put all the ideas in one place, then it's just easy reference, and you can have your own ideas. There's so many ideas that are available online. Just don't use disposable stuff, and don't use balloons. Half of your waste is already taken care of there and then. So it was good fun. I think the kids had a good time. So I think we can continue doing this for till whenever we can.
Right, right. And I think very aptly said that, a lot of times, just sharing those ideas can kind of inspire a lot of people around us, because, sometimes we're looking for ways, but just say, like, you were saying कि simple सा solution हमने निकाला on, how we can start segregating and everything. तो वो simple solution मिल जाता है when everyone feels like that, this is like something that even I can do. And I think that, and I am sure that you would also feel that social media has played a huge role in kind of,
Huge.
kind of being able to put out that message and being able to kind of inspire people. So, how do you think, like in your journey now that you are actively on Instagram also, so how have you used social media so far in kind of inspiring people? And, how do you think that anyone else who probably has an idea should use this as a medium to spread out ideas like these?
So firstly, let me tell you, I have learned everything from Instagram. Everything that I know is because of Instagram. And inspiring is a later part, but I was inspired by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the pandemic helped so much, because in this particular manner, because what happened was a lot of people who were doing work offline, or doing workshops, or trainings or consulting, they all came online, and they started doing a lot of stuff online.
Right.
And so I attended every workshop that I could find on sustainable living, zero waste living, composting, any topic of this kind. If people want to know, there is a company called Scrap. They do amazing workshops every month, and they happen on a weekend, and it's on Zoom. So it is very accessible. I think I have done every single workshop that Scrap did when I was starting off. So, it's, you get somebody you can ask a question directly and say, this is my issue. What do you think I should do? So you can clear all your doubts. Then, just by following people like Worm Rani, I mean, just seeing her content and saying, oh my God, this is a regular person, and if she can do it, so can I. And the reason I started putting out a lot of content was because I was like, okay, if it took me so much time to find this one particular thing or get this particular idea, if I just shared it with people, maybe somebody can use that idea or
Right.
use that information, right? So in the beginning, by the way, I only used to do stories. I would just, something would be happening, I would take a picture, just upload it as a story. And a few people told me that, why don't you make posts? Because stories go, but posts can, people can keep referring back to them. So I started making posts about it. And then with Abir, I realized that if I can show people that if a child can do this, it's not that difficult to for an adult to do it. So that was the reason behind making content with Abir and just showing what he does. All the things, that various things that he keeps doing. So I really think that it's a very, very good medium for learning and also spreading the information. And I really rely upon, even now, if I have any doubt, I will reach out to somebody and they will always help. And similarly, if somebody reaches out to me and says, what do you think? Where can I get something like this from? Or do you have any idea on this topic? I'm happy to help always, and get people this information easily accessible.
Right, right, right. And I think, yes, as we were saying, so whenever we look at Abir's videos, so I will also say, I think that, composting is child's play. So, वही वाला message आता है that, it's something so easy that every one of us can do. All right, so I think there's one segment that we kind of always do with everyone who joins us. Is a quick rapid fire. So I'm gonna say a few words and just say whatever comes to your mind when you
Oh
hear
my
those
God.
words.
Okay.
So the first word is waste.
Oh, I hate waste. I'm sorry for three words, but I just hate it.
I think that's the most apt response. The second is plastic.
Hate.
All right, plants.
Love.
Really?
Absolutely. I was a person who had zero plants. I did not even have one plant. I think now I have 60 plants. So I love it.
All right, composting.
Pure joy.
Right, and kids.
Inspiration.
Right, all right, that's lovely. And so I think we've all seen your a lot of your composting videos and everything. But like, tell us more about your entire plants journey, especially given that especially on Urvann, like a lot of people are plant lovers. So how what are plants you like? How did that journey start? So, like for me, for example, Sambhav is an avid gardener, my husband, and he's been into gardening for like I think 15 years. And for me, it's a very recent journey when we got married, and then I started kind of joining him in his plant care and everything. So my journey, but I have eventually realized that it was like a huge addiction. Like once you start, then whenever
It is.
we're buying plants, like I'm like, अरे मतलब मेरे को ज़्यादा बोर होता है. Did you take this also? Like it's just like an addiction. So how did your entire journey start, and how does
So
like a garden look like?
I had zero interest in plants, and actually I didn't have space. I was in an apartment which had no balcony, nothing. So I never even thought of it. Then we moved to another apartment and we had a big balcony and it had a flower bed. So I was like, okay, we must plant something here. So it started from that. Went to a nursery, and oh my God, I had never been to a big nursery before. And it was just, your mind just gets blown because you see all these amazing plants. So I bought a lot of plants and then I killed a lot of them because I had no idea what to do. And I would keep watering them every day. And then of course they died. So so I realized that I need to learn a little bit about it. So I started following again on Instagram, on YouTube, just started seeing a lot of videos. Then I thought, let me get plants which don't die. So I would go to the nursery and say, please give me something, which doesn't need too much care. At least let me start with that. So I started with very plants which don't require regular watering, or which are easy plants. I started with those, and then slowly I've just added on the plants. And I have to tell you, a lot of this is because of Abir, because he used to go down and play with the building gardeners. So he would
Okay.
actually, yeah. So he would be like, if they were planting something, he would go and do it with them and all of that. And because they were enjoying so much with him, they would keep sending plants with him. So he would just come back with a plant and say, green uncle, he calls them green uncles, green uncle ne diya hai. So, and then they would come and help me pot it, and, just tell me what to do with it. So yeah, it has just slowly grown so much that now I have no place in the house. And now I'm like, I cannot buy any plants because, there is no place for them. But I also started learning how to propagate. So I can show you quickly. I have a propagation station in my.
Oh wow, lovely.
So so every time I think I can propagate a plant in water, I just put it there, and then I get new plants. So it's been amazing, just learning. I think the more you learn about gardening, and recently the most amazing thing happened, that a tomato plant just started growing out of nowhere. It just started growing in another plant. And later on, somebody told me, it's when you put compost in plants, sometimes that does happen, because maybe there were seeds in your compost. And this tomato plant was this tiny, and I potted it in a bigger plant, and it's grown to like 4 feet tall in
Oh,
one
wow.
month, and it has tomatoes in it. So for the first time, I grew something which is food, and I am so excited that now I was just thinking that maybe this is the next step. We should start growing some food. So I put some basil, I put some spinach, and we have this tomato plant that's growing. And every single morning we wake up, Abir and I, and we go and look at the tomato plant to see how big the tomatoes have become. So I think even for him, it's a very interesting journey, and it's very he's very excited because he can see it growing right every day. So yeah, I think our next step is going to be planting some vegetables.
Amazing, amazing. Good to know. I think
And
like the
also,
pan.
I want to mention one more thing. When the pandemic started, I think a lot of people started doing this when, because we had so much extra time. But it is
Right.
very therapeutic. Just
Hmm.
looking at your plants, touching the soil, watering them, or I just feel that it's it just calms you down, and that is
Right.
something that plants can give you. It's an amazing thing.
Right. So, in fact, what we did was we started doing a lot of gardening workshops during pandemic, like taking. So, summer we used to take a lot of gardening workshops, and a lot of people who joined us, though at that time were, actually first time gardeners who were probably joining in because their gardeners weren't coming and then wanted to know how to take care of their plants. But even now, like because it's such a, like taking care of your plants is, as you mentioned, is so therapeutic and it's so calming that just tend to forget all your worries and matlab relax kar jata hai even after a stressful day. And people would just want to start their day with kind of blooms in their garden, and the entire process of, like seeing your seeds grow and germinate, I think it's so rewarding that
Yeah.
once you start, you just, there's no looking back. So it's like a long journey after that. So which actually, so now that brings me to my like last question, is that for everyone watching us today, if you had to kind of give them like a playbook, or not a playbook, but maybe top three things that you would say, these are basic things, instead start karo apna, these are small changes that we all can do, like what would those three things be, top three things that every one of us should do and immediately start doing, and which according to you is are easy kind of to inculcate into our daily lives.
See, I think the most important thing, and it may not be easy, but I think the number one thing that we all need to think about is our consumption, and just see how we can reduce that. Whether it is clothes or shoes or food or anything, this whole overconsumption that I need to have everything, I need to buy new things all the time. I think this is something, if we all just reduce that and did nothing else, I think we would make a huge impact. So I would say that that is definitely my number one thing to say, that just be a little more mindful of how many things you're buying which you don't need. And if you can stop or reduce that, just if you were buying 20 things in a month, maybe look at buying 10 things in a month, but just start reducing that and seeing what you already have, and first see if you really need to buy something at all. That would be my first tip. My second tip would be that try and reduce your use of disposable products. Anything which is disposable. So even a tissue paper is disposable, right?
Right.
A cotton ball is disposable. So these are things which have taken so much of resources to get produced. It gets grown somewhere, produced somewhere. It goes to a manufacturer, then a retailer, wholesaler, then a retailer, then it's coming in some vehicle, it's coming to a shop, then you're going and buying it. So it's just imagine this huge chain, and you used it for 5 seconds and threw it away. So that's a huge amount of waste, and all these things do end up in the landfill. So if you can just start using any, and everything has a reusable option, every single thing. We are very lucky to be in an age where you have such amazing, convenient, reusable options. So just try to look at, okay, this is what I throw, what can I use instead? That can, just by reusing thing. And you know what, when the pandemic hit, and then there was this whole thing of, oh my god, everything is going to get over in the supermarkets. My son was about 1 year 3 months old at that time, and he was still in diapers. And I remember so many of people I knew who had kids of that age were buying diapers in hordes because they didn't know if they will get them again. And we didn't have to do that, right? Because we are using a reusable thing, so we didn't have to do that. So it is also very easy, economical, to use a reusable thing instead of a disposable thing. So I think that would be my second tip, to use reusable instead of disposable. And what would my third tip? My third tip would be, like I said in the beginning, just look at using a sustainable product instead of using a regular product which is not sustainable, as and when you get done with it. So let's say your detergent got over and you were going to buy a new one, just think about buying a sustainable brand. Or your toothpaste got over, switch to a sustainable toothpaste. Or your shower gel got over, go and get a soap bar. These are, I think the third point that I said is the easiest thing to do. Just use sustainable products instead of using unsustainable ones. And again, in India, we are so lucky. There are so many amazing brands which are making sustainable products. There is really no category that you don't have. Whether it's personal care, whether it is home care, you get everything. Whether it's clothes, you have options in every category.
Right, right. Absolutely. I think we're living in the kind of times that we are living. So there are both the things. One, there's a pressing need for going into a sustainable lifestyle, and at the same time, there are so many brands and businesses who've made the entire process so seamless and easy.
Yeah.
From both sides, we are sorted. So we know that there's a need also, and then there are ways also to kind of achieve that kind of lifestyle. So with that, thank you so much, Sonika, for accepting our invite and coming on to the show and inspiring
My
so many of
pleasure.
us.
My pleasure.
Coincidentally, I have another Abir at home, my nephew, so I am gonna take a lot of
Oh,
lessons
wow.
from Abir to my Abir, and I'm sure that the same is true for everyone who is listening to the live as well. So thank you so much once again for joining us, and we'll stay in touch.
Yes, and thank you so much for inviting me. I had a very nice conversation, and I love your content. So keep
Thank
helping
you.
people like me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.